Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ranting Media's Halloween horror movie Fight Night. Tonight,
Round two.
round two. Tonight, I've got with me Mr. Jim Tendo 86, aka Jim Keel.
Hello there.
We've got our lovely producer slash seducer in the background, Mr. Todd Harden. He's going to be manning our live stream tonight. So, tonight, we've got some stuff to talk about, specifically horror, because it's Halloween. I don't know if you knew this.
I did know this.
This is the whole month is Halloween. I've got a black cat. She's steadily becoming stronger as the month wears on. Because she is a spooky cat, and this is her month.
I found out something. Did you maybe tell me this, Geoff?
What?
Maybe it was you, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it just happened this weekend and I saw you this weekend. But somebody told me that shelters will not adopt out black cats like 1 week before Halloween or 1 week after Halloween due to like sacrificial shit.
Oh, that's fucked up.
It's pretty fucked up. I learned that this weekend.
Wow. No, I love my black cat. Her name's Lana, and she's she's currently fighting the dogs right now because she likes to scrap with them all the time. She's a street cat by heart, so no, that's fucked up. Don't do that, kids.
Kentucky Humane Society says that's false.
Look, I just heard it. I'm not saying it is true. I just heard it. But thanks, Kentucky.
Fucking Kentucky, I swear to God.
I literally Googled the word black cats Halloween adoption, and that was the first thing that popped up. They're like, hey.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of black cats in Halloween movies, so
now,
it's just kind of a thing.
Now, close enough, there is an article from the Smithsonian that talks about, let's see. There's no evidence that people go out of their way to do bad things. Hey, thank you for the follow. I did hear a long time ago, similar to what Jim said, that they don't adopt out cats around Halloween because people will adopt them, use them for some Halloween-related thing, and then return them.
Yeah,
like
I've heard that
at the
too.
Super Bowl, but like cats.
I've heard that too.
Right.
Just black cats, unfortunately, just I think get more. I don't know. I think they get more shit than they deserve. Just because, yeah. I think just because they have like this weird stigma around them that they either get too much attention or they don't get enough to like people are like, oh, I don't want to adopt the black cat. Oh, it's creepy or whatever.
Nah, I mean I've had my black cat for Jesus. It's been going on since 13, I think.
I'm sadly allergic to cats, so to all the new followers, thank you.
Yeah, welcome to our stream. Appreciate you all for showing up. So let's dive right into it. We've got some stuff we like to talk about just right off the get-go. There's some popular things that are happening on Netflix right now. Squid Games is one of them. I haven't watched Squid Games, so we're not going to talk about Squid Games. Sorry, people who wanted to listen to Squid Games. Because that's apparently like everyone's been watching it. It's super violent. I don't know. Todd, have you watched Squid Games at all?
I don't have Netflix, so no.
Okay.
Well, I know my wife has watched some, but it just seems like a variation of Battle Royale, which, I guess inspired like Hunger Games and like all these types of like those were like a bunch of different competitions.
Right.
And but the ultimate, you lose, you die. So I mean, yeah, that it doesn't I don't think it's unoriginal. It just seems like it all stems from Battle Royale, and I'm sure Lord of the Flies. You can even say that it all stems from that, but it doesn't seem super wholly original. Now, if the killings and the contests are super unique. Yeah, I'd be interested in watching it. It looks very well made.
Yeah, I would say that's probably it looks well made. It just kind of dropped out of nowhere, and it's one of those things like once Netflix gets like a kind of like pseudo hit on their hands, it just kind of everyone starts watching it because it's built in, it's free, and they just start promoting it pretty heavily.
Most watched Netflix show ever.
Really?
Already?
More than like
Yeah.
Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm surprised
also,
by that.
There was already a movie similar to this. Not Battle Royale. Battle Royale
Which is
just
what
like a Battle
which is
Royale.
what I thought.
Alice in Borderland.
Yeah, which
is also a manga.
Yeah.
Same idea. You're put in a special area, and you have to play death games to survive. I really like Alice in Borderland. I found it watching those series of YouTube videos where it's like how to win or how to escape Saw and all that shit. It brought me to Alice in Borderland.
Okay.
But yeah, Squid Game. It's interesting.
So I did want to talk real briefly. If y'all haven't watched Midnight Mass, we aren't going to talk about any huge spoilers or anything. I'm more just kind of curious what Jim has thought of it so far. I've finished the series, and for those who don't know, Midnight Mass is from the director of House on Haunted Hill, the Netflix series a couple years ago. I want to say it was, I don't remember the sequel, or not the sequel, but the second in his series. I think it was Manor.
I'm not too sure.
Cannot substantiate.
The problem with that one is I didn't finish it, so it just wasn't as interesting to me for some reason as the first series was. But Midnight Mass is one of those horror events where it's definitely I would consider it a slow burn so far. And
spoiler, should we give a spoiler alert?
I'm not going to give a spoiler alert.
Okay.
And just because I know like you haven't finished it.
No, not yet. Not 100%.
But I mean, the very premise of the show is it's basically set on kind of an island. They're basically fishermen, and they just happen to be very religious. There's one church on the island. A brand new priest comes to town who takes over for the other one who is ill disposed at the moment. Is the best way I'll put it.
Yeah.
Because it's just explained, he's like, oh, he's sick. The guy was old, so he's on the mainland right now. He's sick. The series starts off with basically a dude who has a car accident because he's drunk, and you kind of follow his story as he comes back home to this island town and all the changes that go along with it. So I'm kind of curious, Jim, are you enjoying it so far? Is it something you want to finish?
So two things like freak me out. Like I would consider myself a pretty big fan of like horror movies and that sort of subculture and subgenre of entertainment. But two things that freak me out. Number one is religion, specifically Christianity. Sorry, no offense to anybody listening.
Right.
It just freaks me out. And the other thing is like walled off small islands. And so this is literally both of my biggest fears in one. And you know, I haven't watched all of it, but just it also there's something that which I don't want to go into spoiler territory, but something else happens that is something I hate seeing in horror movies, and it happens in like the second episode. But yeah, I just do not. I really liked it so far. I have really liked it so far, but
okay.
It definitely is something that I feel uneasy watching.
So one of the weird juxtapositions with this is that they use a lot of Christian hymns for the music. Just in like the real quiet moments. It's oddly beautiful, but like it's also unsettling. So this is.
Have you ever watched the movie Red State?
Yes, a long time ago.
Todd didn't like Red State. It's like that. That movie did a lot to me just because like cult shit, like Christian cult shit. Like give me like a satanic cult any day of the week, and it doesn't faze me. But like, Christian cults, freak me out.
Every time there's a rather large cross that used to be on a building here in Houston. I want to say it was a hospital of some sort. I can't remember what it's called now. But it's like right as you're going on I-10 directly into Houston for the first time. And there's a line from that movie. They're like, well, how much do you think that cross costs? You mean in dollars or in common sense? And that always, every time I see like a giant cross, I think of that movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it. It was definitely one of the first Kevin Smith movies where I was like, all right, he's definitely veering into different territory now.
I went to the Kevin Smith toured with it, because this was kind of like the start of his kind of new style of filmmaking and career. And obviously, I love Kevin Smith. But if you know this show, you know that. But he toured with this, so I went to the actual like tour, and got to see him, show it, and then he did a Q&A afterwards, and it was very interesting. I did the same thing with Tusk, and I did the same thing with Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So no, I love Red State, a very underrated horror film, and something that I legitimately believe Michael Parks should have won an Academy Award for. But it's Kevin Smith; he'll never get any notoriety like that.
Yeah. So you had mentioned to me before this that you had kind of classified the horror movies that you're talking about.
So I started thinking yesterday. I want to go in and talk about horror movies, but I don't want to leave a subgenre or a section of horror movie kind of forgotten. So I broke it down into 8 subgenres, and what those are: psychological horror, slasher, gore, body horror, found footage, monster, paranormal, and comedy.
Okay.
And I have basically what I've done is I've taken those 8 subgenres, and I have 3 movies per subgenre that I say, I'm not gonna, trust me, like I could be here for hours talking about all the hidden gems and like the Italian horror movies versions of these, or the Japanese horror movie, but 3 movies that exemplify that subgenre of horror. So yeah, and hopefully hopefully you have some you've seen some of these.
Well, so I just want to point out that I used to be on Jim's Plex server. I haven't been on there in a minute. But if you just to give you a snapshot of the movies that Jim watches, it's a lot of, I would classify, B horror movies.
That is accurate. That I definitely like. You can make something fucking weird as shit with like a shit budget. I'm probably gonna like it a whole lot.
So I wanted to touch upon, because you have your 8 subgenres and such, the psychological horror. There's been a trend recently, I would say the past couple years, of these movies that are classified as horror, and they are slow burning, they're weird, and they just have this rather strange soundtrack.
Okay.
Those are the movies which I tend to get a little, I wouldn't say uncomfortable with, but I tend to be not so friendly towards.
You wanna hit me with an example?
So my favorite example would probably be The Witch.
God damn, I love that movie so much.
Or The Witch. So I hate that movie with a passion.
I know.
And it's movies like that because if I'm not mistaken, the person who did The Witch also did Midsummer.
No.
No?
Ari Aster did Midsummer and Hereditary.
Hereditary. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Hereditary, I enjoyed. I actually asked my wife before we got on, I said, hey, what is one horror movie that you would class that you'd have to watch every Halloween? Hereditary was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The Witch was just one of those weird for the sake of being weird to me. And it just had those long tracking shots, and it was the score was very much like screeching violins and things like that designed to make you uneasy.
It's a very divisive movie, but you're correct.
It was one of those movies where I did see it in theaters, and I was itching the whole time. I was just like, I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to go. Because it's just one of those things where I just wasn't having a great time with it. I like horror movies that aren't quite predictable, but that'll make you kind of writhe a little bit.
Did you genuinely not like it? Like you just thought it was a bad movie, or
I thought it
just
was
make you uneasy? Okay.
I thought it was just a bad movie, in my opinion. And I've got friends all over the spectrum who are like, "Oh, I love that movie. Oh, it was great," and then others that are like, "Yeah, I didn't like it either." And
it's super polarizing.
And that's the thing. Like you have super polarizing movies, and then you have others that I would say are more adaptable. And those are kind of the movies that I tend to err towards, I guess you could say. Like Doctor Sleep.
I have not seen Doctor Sleep.
That's interesting.
I haven't watched it yet. I've heard the book isn't great, and so I didn't watch the movie.
And it's interesting because it's rather faithful to the book.
Okay.
So, but that's also a Mike Flanagan movie as well. So he also did Midnight Mass. He did A House on Haunted Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And then The Haunting of Bly Manor was the other one that I missed.
I think my buddy James liked Doctor Sleep too, and I trust him pretty hard when it comes to horror movies. So I think that's one I'm gonna have to end up watching.
Todd, I agree. It was boring. The Witch was very, very boring. Now Doctor Sleep was
Is that a Neil Gaiman joint?
No.
The Witch?
No, Doctor Sleep. Oh, I'm thinking of Sandman. Sorry, bye.
Yeah,
you're thinking of Sandman. Oh, also, thank you for saying that. Doctor Sleep is the
sequel to The Shining.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I was never gonna see it in the first place then because I never watched The
Shining. A couple of things. Now that you've said The Shining, the Alamo Draft House in La Cantera actually is their lobby is The Shining. The hallway from the hotel. Yeah, they redid the carpet, and they have a panel in the back.
Yeah, you posted that. Let me see.
You did post that on Instagram. That's right.
Yeah, it was really cool walking in, and people were like, "Oh my goodness!" Just like looking down on the carpet. But then someone was like, "Oh, what is this from?" Blah blah blah. And I was like, "I mean, it's from The Shining." It's like, "Oh, there's another one coming out." I was like, "No, it's just because it's Halloween, like it's October." I don't know. Doctor Sleep was something that I enjoyed. It was definitely the latter half. They really went full Shining, if that makes sense.
Right.
Okay. Like they go back to the hotel.
Okay. I saw room 237, so that makes sense.
And it's a little scary how accurately they were able to reproduce it, because we had actually just watched The Shining like the night before that we watched this.
Okay. I'll probably do the same thing. Watch that first, and then and then watch Doctor Sleep.
It's eerie just how well they did it. So I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, speaking of The Shining and psychological horror, that's one of my three. I think The Shining exemplifies that genre, and really, like, if I were to say to somebody who's never watched, or like, hey, I want to watch a psychological horror movie. I'm not familiar with the genre. What should I watch? That would be the one I would say to watch first, and then my other two after that.
So I'm curious what your other two would be.
So my second one would be the movie It Follows.
Okay.
You ever seen It Follows?
I have.
Is that the STD movie?
That yes, classically referred to as the STD movie.
Sorry, it
I think this movie is phenomenally paced. I think it's super eerie. The soundtrack is maybe one of my favorite like horror movie soundtracks of all time, or scores, not soundtracks. But It Follows
okay,
hits perfectly.
Jim, I have a task for you.
Okay.
That makes this podcast more tedious. I don't like horror movies. I am a big old pussy.
Okay.
But in each of your 8 categories, you have to recommend me one that you think I'll survive.
Okay, the next one I'm going to mention.
So, did you say The Shining is your first one?
I would say The Shining, but I think you could do The Shining. I think you could.
I think I can, just because I know the general idea because of Ready Player One.
Yeah, right.
Also, I wrote it as The Shinning.
But I think psychological horror movies you would do okay in.
I mean, I watched a couple of the Saw movies.
I think that whole genre. Well, my third, Geoff. Well, actually, Geoff, what have you seen? It Follows. What do you think?
I've read about It Follows.
Okay,
and so I know what the general premise is. Basically, I had a friend though who saw it, and he really turned me off from it because he was just like, it was horrible.
People who I'll just say this, and I'm not. Hopefully, this isn't insulting anybody or anything like that. People who like Friday the 13th and the very basics, the surface level horror movies are not going to like It Follows because there's so much else going on that really makes you think. This is one of my favorite movies from the last 10 years, and I'm not talking about horror movies. This is just one of my favorite movies from the last 10 years.
Okay. Well, and that's the thing. Like, there's everything about horror movies is subjective to a certain degree. I mean, it's the same with every movie, right? But it's one of those things where, like, it's hard for me to get invested into a movie, and that I feel like is wasting my time.
Sure, yeah, we're getting older, man.
it's just one of those things where, like, I can't do movies that are in it for the shock factor, I guess you could say. Or ones that I would consider are critical darlings that people are like, this is the best thing since this one movie, and it's so artsy and it's so out there. One of the most garbage movies that I watched last year that I actually suffered all the way through was The Lighthouse. And is
that the movie with Batman where he jerks off on himself?
Yes.
Okay.
But not just himself. It's just like there's a whole subplot with. I'm not even going to be like upset about spoiling this because I super suggest you never watch this. So I'm going to spoil it for you. It's one of those things where they show up on an island, they're stuck there for a while, and just all manner of things happen. The old William Dafoe character, he's in love with the light of the lighthouse, and he's like, you cannot touch that fucking light. That's my light. Also, he speaks through a very thick accent. It's kind of hard to understand.
Director from The Witch, you know that, right?
Yes, which is why I fucking hate it.
Geoff, do you just hate A24 Pictures?
No,
because he liked. Sorry, microphone issues. Because you liked Midsommar and like Hereditary and stuff.
Yeah, Midsommar was definitely like on the very edge of me going, okay, I don't like this. I was on the very edge.
Just so you know, I loved The Lighthouse.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's just one of those weird. See, and I could see that because you love The Witch. So, like, it makes complete sense to me. But, I don't know. Did you see The Green Knight yet by any chance?
No, I've heard mixed things, but I haven't seen it yet.
That's a fucking bizarre ass movie too. We got to the very end of that and we're like, why did we watch this? So this is kind of where I'm trying to get at. There's movies that try to be super artsy and they try to be like these critical darlings. And it really comes off as, I want to say pretentious, but they're trying to be different for the sake of being different. And it leaves kind of a bad taste in my mouth. And I don't know why.
I can get that.
Did you ever see Mother?
The Jennifer Lawrence movie?
Yes.
No, I did not. I heard not good things.
Couldn't tell you exactly what happens in that movie. All I know is that it was weird as shit. I paid to go see it, and I walked out of there going, I really wanted my money back.
That's the movie where she got like brutally assaulted, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that. Was that Nick Cage?
No.
I
think that's Javier
Javier Bardem.
They're the same.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
They're the same. Okay.
Real quick, just to get it out of the way, I did write down 4 horror movies that I couldn't exactly place into genres, and so I wrote them down as like, you know, other, but they are some of my 4 favorite horror movies. One of which is The Witch, one of which is Midsommar, the other's Hereditary, and then the other is The Audition, or Audition. I think it's just Audition, which is a Japanese movie. Have you seen it?
It sounds familiar.
So I won't go full spoiler territory, but it's one of my absolute favorites. Audition, basically, a guy who's like a producer starts to audition for like a reality show when in actuality, he is auditioning for his next wife, and lots of not great things happen.
So not this movie with the violin.
Not this movie with the violin.
This
is not it. No, it's got some of the most brutal, just absolute fucking travesty of just human. Oh, this scene right fucking here.
This movie's from 1999, by the way.
It was 1999. Yes, it's a hard to watch movie for sure, especially with when you find out like what's in that stack right there.
Her mother. It's a Serbian film.
Not quite.
It's his ex-wife.
We're not talking
about previous wife.
Film.
It's Serbian film.
But it's just so funny and so I'll talk about this. I don't mind. Midsommar, for instance, you talk about like wanting to leave. I had a panic attack like right when the movie started, and it did not enjoy the movie because of that. But I sat through the whole thing. Then when I watched it again, like I fucking adored it. I loved Midsommar. Absolutely loved Midsommar. Would recommend it to anybody. But again, Ari Aster's hit or miss because a lot of people didn't like Hereditary, which is fucking crazy. But you know,
it's one of those things where there's, and I'm gonna have to see if I can find the name of it. It's one of those things where you have a horror movie that starts off very normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things are kind of okay. And then it'll start to just kind of spiral out of control very quickly. And it'll either be something demonic, more likely than not.
Mm-hmm.
Midsommar was just kind of batshit crazy at the very end because it was a cult, essentially. I would say, right?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Is that Black Widow?
No, that's Florence Pugh.
That is Florence Pugh, who is in Black Widow.
Paige from Fighting with My Family.
No, that's
from Black Widow. She is in Black Widow. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's Black Widow.
Yelena or something or other. Yeah. No, I don't think she's called Romanov in the movies.
You're probably right.
It's Yelena.
The movie was
Malova.
Yeah, something like that. Mia Malkova. Different.
That's not
Mia Malkova. Don't Google that.
Okay. I don't know. The other the other movie that I would say that I really enjoyed was Get Out.
That's my number 3 of psychological horror.
But I did not necessarily enjoy Us.
I liked Us, but not as much as Get Out.
And I'm actually kind of curious to see his next one that's coming out. I don't know what it's called.
I also have forgotten what it's called. Jordan Peele. I loved Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone was awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing. I'm very much against those types of movies, but
Candyman, his new one?
No, I don't think he did Candyman.
No, I think it may be produced by him.
The next, according to this, future projects. Nope. This is next one. Nope.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. It is called Nope. That's right.
Candyman was written by him.
Written and produced. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good for him. Man. Actually, he found a niche.
Horror.
The director of that, Nia DaCosta.
What did you just say?
Nia DaCosta?
I never heard that person. I thought you said Nikolai Costa from Game of Thrones.
No. She's directing the Marvels. Which Captain Marvel, something, Miss Marvel together, something.
Like Carol Danvers?
Yeah, it's Carol. No, it's
Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan, Carol Danvers, and then there's also
Brie Larson, whatever her name is.
No, I'm trying to figure out what her name is because she was in WandaVision. It's the daughter of Maria Rambeau.
Something Rambo.
Yeah, something Rambo.
Black lady.
She's also going to be in it too.
I still never seen Get Out.
Oh, Get Out. Do you know what the general?
But I know the entire plot.
Oh, so that's such a bummer because we saw it in theaters and we knew kind of
spoilers.
What was happening?
Body Snatchers.
Geoff, did we happen to see it together?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
We had a party right after that. I just don't remember. I remember seeing it in theaters at Marquee.
In the ghetto?
I don't know why we saw it there. I can't remember why, actually.
Yeah, I saw it at Alamo.
The old Alamo.
Maybe. I can't remember now. Yeah, this movie's really good. To anybody who watches this and sees something that is too woke or anti-white, get your fucking priorities.
Also, that's kind of the point.
What do you mean?
I mean, this. If you're talking about this movie in particular, he used this movie to bring up a lot of weird things involving black and white relations.
Well, sure. But I don't think it's trying. To me, it's a horror movie that just has that connotation. If that's the case, then any movie that involves race is woke or anti-white or anti-this or anything like that.
I watched Beauty Shop with Queen Latifah. Am I woke now?
What the fuck?
Get Out's awesome. That is my number 3 for psychological horror.
Yeah,
but I don't want to take away the spotlight from you, man. I want you to tell me what your favorite horror movies are.
So Hereditary is one of them. The other thing though is that I do kind of lean into, I guess you could consider, the classics. Definitely a huge fan of the Halloween movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alien is probably one of my favorites.
So good. So good.
Everything after that, maybe not so much, but specifically like Ridley Scott when he tried to do Prometheus, I just we don't talk about Prometheus that much for a goddamn reason, because Alien set the bar so high, and then after that, it was just kind of like, why?
Can I add this though? If you do like Alien, do yourself a favor and either play it or watch somebody play it, but Alien Isolation, the video game.
Oh, 100%.
It is
hell no.
It should be a movie.
It's so faithful.
It might be my favorite Alien property they've ever made. Like outside of Alien.
So that's one that is just kind of the classics. But there's others that I would consider to be much more recent that I've enjoyed. Split was very good, for instance, which surprisingly is like M. Night Shyamalan's like return to movies, I guess you could say. But not so much the one that followed after that. I didn't really enjoy. I can't even remember the name of it now.
Invincible? No.
God damn. Glass. I didn't enjoy Glass. It was terrible.
I think Justin liked it, but I didn't see Split or Glass.
Oh, Split was great.
Spoilers. Did you see the movie technically before?
Unbreakable?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. I liked Unbreakable.
But that's
the only M. Night Shyamalan movie I've ever liked.
That's the thing. It felt like they did Split, and I realized they teased fucking Glass like at the tail end of it, but they could have literally just chopped that off and it would have been completely fine. Like I was fine with it not being connected to Unbreakable. Unbreakable doesn't really hold up that well now.
I haven't watched it in years, so
especially as soon as that music kicks in and you're trying to watch it, you're like, this isn't great. I don't know what why I like this at some point. But I don't know. I'm not really like, my wife enjoys horror movies much more than I do. She's definitely into them a lot more. And we've seen some stuff over the years that have just been a little rough. I would call it the Netflix special of horror movies. Did you ever see Splice?
Oh yeah.
I don't like that movie either.
I don't love that movie.
It's one of those movies where it looks great on the surface, but then just weird shit starts to happen, especially once he has sex with his daughter, quote unquote.
Excuse me, what?
Yeah. which is not.
Oh, this is a movie where I haven't seen it. He makes a clone or some.
Yeah.
And then he fucks her. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
It's an older movie, right?
Adrian Brody.
It's older. I'd say like 2009. Yeah. This Place was just one of those weird ass movies that didn't really care for at the end of the day. We did a lot of like, especially when we first started dating, we did a lot of like, let's just rent this random Redbox horror movie.
Yeah.
And it was sometimes hit or miss, man.
Is that Elizabeth Moss?
I want to say no.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what her name was now. Hold on. Slice movie, IMDb. Sarah Polley.
Not Sarah Paulson. Okay.
No, not Sarah
Paulson. She's in the Dawn of the Dead remake. Sarah Polley.
Yeah.
Yep, which I fucking adore.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of curious to see what else you have on your list here.
Sure, I can. The next section I had was slasher films.
Okay.
And
this might be
go
more
ahead.
my speed.
So this is my favorite genre. Slasher, gore, body horror. That's more my speed when I like fucking over the top, just nonsensical, like couldn't happen in a million years in real life, just buckets of fake blood slasher horror.
Okay.
Now the three that I picked as being like, and these are all over the place, so bear with me. But if I had to give somebody, and this can almost be not a slasher movie, but I call it one, and I'm going to stick with it. But the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think, is such a just brutal, for the time, horrifying exploit into what was like, a true story with we know now that it was just based off of Ed Gein shit turned up to 11. But the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre just has a very eerie feeling that a lot of movies at the time did not have. Just very raw, very gritty.
So, what other besides that though would you consider slasher in your opinion?
So the other one that I've got, it's an Italian movie called Deep Red.
Deep Red.
Deep Red. This is one that I just assume most people, because I don't think it's ever had like an American remake. I don't think it really was very big in the United States. I just don't think it was. Was kind of a staple of really good Fulci horror movies from Italy. Very, very good. Hard to describe, but very, very good. I definitely recommend it, and is definitely brutal. But you gotta be open minded because it's older, and it's it can be a little cheesy. But I love cheesy slasher movies.
So, what about horror mysteries? Is that technically one of your genres?
I would almost. I don't have it on there. One more real quick for slashers, just because I have to talk about it because it's so ridiculous. But it's Chopping Mall. Have you ever heard of Chopping Mall?
No.
Basically, this mall it's been robbed too many times, so they hired this company to build robot security guards for the mall. And there's a lightning storm, and it causes these robots to go haywire. And these kids are having these teenagers are having like a sex party in the mall after it closes, and they just start the robots start killing everybody, and they have to try and stop and kill the robots. I just want it. It's not even 90 minutes long, so if you ever have just like a little bit of time to kill. I definitely think you should try and find it. I think it's the whole thing's on YouTube, but it's just so stupid and ridiculous and just so much fun to watch. I definitely highly recommend it.
Okay.
And shot in, I believe, the same mall as Commando, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
What the fuck?
You also started to roughly describe Five Nights at Freddy's. You were
did I?
That way. I was like, huh. All right.
Well, this movie was made in 1986, so
I'm aware.
Definitely predates it.
All right, so I got an interesting question for y'all. It was one of the movies, one of the first horror movies you watched as a kid. And I guess it depends on whether or not you had a second floor. But for me, it was one of those movies where I would watch it, and then after I was done, I'd immediately run upstairs and hide underneath the cover.
I was poor. We only had one floor.
Okay. Well, did you ever run to your room, hide underneath the covers after a movie?
No, I refused to put myself in that situation.
Okay.
Do you remember your first experience with horror movies?
Mine in particular?
Yeah.
It's hard to say because like I wasn't really into horror for a while. One of the ones that really stuck with me was actually the original Ring movie, though.
No, fuck.
Oh, okay. I saw that in the
We
theater.
were teenagers when that came out.
Yeah, see, I wasn't.
I can tell you exactly mine.
2002?
Yeah, I was 12 then.
You're 12. Okay.
So, when I was 6 years old, I went to a haunted house.
Okay.
And I fucking loved the haunted house. I was 6 years old, had a great time. And came home and told my mom, this was awesome. I was like, I love scary things. So my mom took me to Blockbuster. And on Halloween, we rented The Birds and Psycho.
Oh, Lord.
Christ.
And now those movies are, those movies should only be viewed to like say you've seen them as like a classic or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not very good. But at the 6-year-old Jim fucking loved those movies. And from then on, and I never have watched a movie and gotten scared, but this movie, The Ring, first of all, I love this movie. I think it's very good. This is one of the few movies where I think the American version is better than the Japanese version. I don't think Ringu is very good, but the manga and the book is very good for Ringu. But there's a scene in this movie where they open a closet kind of all of a suddenly, and like there's like a dead body, that head kind of moves. That part freaked me out. And then there's another part that involves like a bathtub later on in the movie that freaked me the fuck out. This is the only time I ever like really legitimately got freaked out in a movie. Oh, but I mean, besides the complete and utter psychological trauma I went through after watching Serbian film.
Yeah, it's just that's one of the movies I remember when I was growing up and I watched it, and it was one of those that I was like, oh man, I really I was terrified of it at the end of it. It's one of those things where like I ran upstairs and hit it underneath the covers. I was like, oh man, I don't like this fucking style movie anymore. But then started dating a girl who really likes horror movies, so I kind of had to edge myself back into it.
Did they remake The Grudge?
Yes.
Yeah. Again?
Here we're getting to the point where like they're remaking movies from our childhood.
Yeah.
Movies from 2004 and they already remade it.
Yeah, and then I think Ju-on is like just from 2000 or 99 or something like that.
I hate film.
Well, I mean, they so stupid.
Oh,
they just today released the trailer for Scream.
Yes, I saw that.
Which is technically Scream 5 and is a continuation of the Scream series.
Oh.
Yeah. It's no, the first one. You're absolutely correct. It brings all the original characters back. And then it brings new characters in.
Former WCW champion David Arquette.
Yeah.
Shut up.
But now
refuse.
But now
they have cell phones now. Why do they have a home phone? They have cell phones.
It's just one of those things where you're like, I can't believe we've come this full circle again. So I'm actually kind of curious.
Real quick, just to piggyback off this. Have you ever heard of a movie called Sadako versus Kiyako?
No.
Kenny versus Spenny?
It was only released in Japan, and it is the little girl from The Ring versus the little boy from The Grudge.
Hell yeah.
It is incredibly bad.
Well, I mean,
it is incredibly bad. I definitely recommend it, especially if you are familiar with these movies. But it's just so bad.
Is it like a Not Another Teen movie parody movie?
No, it's definitely not like that. But it tried to be like Japan was like, we need to make our Freddy versus Jason. You know,
nobody needs to make that.
So, I was actually curious. You've seen the most recent Halloween movie, correct?
No, I haven't seen.
This is how.
I haven't seen most Halloween movies.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've seen Halloween 1, 2, and 3. Season of the Witch is really good. Halloween 3 is the best. And I have seen both Rob Zombie remakes.
But you haven't seen the newest ones?
No, the newest ones that are not Rob Zombie. No, I have not seen them.
Okay. So the next one actually comes out in a couple of days, October 15th.
I saw that. My wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
5
years.
I feel like it's been 5 years since the last fucking Halloween movie at this point. But at this point, it's coming on Peacock. I'm probably gonna watch it. It's one of those movies where I'm okay watching it.
That's Shannon Doherty.
No,
I don't think Shannon Doherty's acted in anything for a little bit now.
She's a bitch.
she was in James Silent Bob reboot.
Bitch.
Was she?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, she was.
So I kind of want to stumble down a few of the movies also that are a little bit like off the beaten path.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily that I would recommend them. I'm going to point that out right now. But there's movies that you scroll by on Amazon and on Netflix that you're like, all right, let me see what I can think about this. One of those is called The Void.
Yep.
And I don't know, have you seen that before?
I sure have.
Oh.
What did you think of that one?
I fucking loved it.
See,
It was an example of horror movies done right in the modern era.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. It's one of those things where, Jim, I swear, sometimes I wonder how our movie interests actually align at some point.
They don't.
Do they? I mean,
well, okay. I really liked the Fear Street movies.
I liked the first two.
You didn't like the third one?
Mm-mm.
So you didn't like the ending?
No, I didn't, and I was really wanting to.
From the director or the producer of The Witch.
Yeah.
Is it seriously?
Yes,
The Void?
he literally just said that.
Fuck. No goddamn wonder.
Then why do you keep doing this to yourself, Geoff?
Because I don't research before I click play sometimes. I just see it and go.
Practical effects. That also will do it for me too. If it's like practical effects, I'm super in.
Oh, okay. All right. The Thing.
The Thing?
Which one?
Yeah. The original.
The Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
All right. So we agree on something. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Well, Kurt Russell is my favorite actor of all time.
Do you know I actually watched Random Tangent? I actually watched there's a show on Corridor Digital where they do like bad CGI versus good CGI.
Mm-hmm.
And Seth Rogen of all people was a guest on the show. They were talking about the Kurt Russell movie. I think it's Escape from New York, or maybe it's Escape. It's one of the Escape movies where he's like
Escape
surfing.
From New York. That's Escape from L.A. That movie is an atrocity.
Okay, if you watch the CGI, he like is on. It looks like he's on a surfboard, but they clearly just like
it's very bad. Yes,
cut him in. Holy shit! But actually, one worse than that was The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, that movie
the scene with the bees.
Rough. Yeah. Well, so and my biggest fear are fucking bees. Like the way you are with snakes, dude, is me with bees.
Yeah, I don't do snakes well, man. I never.
I don't do bees well, dude.
So, did you ever see The Babadook?
Yes, I did.
That is one that I'll highly recommend to anybody.
I really liked Babadook as well.
It's one of those. I don't know. I guess I'm more into like the more accessible films. Like, I was honestly a huge fan of The Conjuring, the first one.
I like the first two Conjurings.
Oh, can we talk about how awful the third one is?
The third one is so fucking bad. Real quick though, Todd, it's called the Velocipaster.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen this.
I don't know what this is.
The bastard that turns into a velociraptor.
I'm sure you would enjoy it a lot.
The Velocipaster.
Ah, look at him.
What is
They
this
fight
on?
ninjas. I think it's on Amazon Prime Video. I think.
Oh, hell
Well,
yeah.
I'm watching this tonight.
I mean, it's just
like
one of
Wolf
those.
Cop.
That fucking Kung Fury movie is gonna come out eventually. I'm so excited for it.
Oh, don't talk to Andrew about Kung
practical
Fury.
effects.
Why?
Oh, the 30-minute Kung. Ooh, Andrew, when it came out, I just remember Andrew fucking going off about how like pissed off he was about Kung Fury.
What was wrong with Kung Fury?
I think he was mad because it was 30 minutes and it wasn't like a full-fledged movie, but they like marketed it in its GoFundMe to be a full-fledged movie. So I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't even know it had a GoFundMe. I just remember it being on
Yeah, it was
YouTube.
crowdsourced. It was crowdsourced.
Well, I remember the second one got crowdsourced. Man, maybe, I don't know. I thought that was a goddamn triumph. That movie.
It was fun for me. It was fun for me too.
So, I want to talk a little bit about comedies.
Okay.
Because unless you've got some other stuff that you want to.
I do, but we can tack it on at the end.
Okay. Nick says they sold pre-orders for the, I'm going to say fucking Blu-ray, and it was 30 minutes.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
I mean, listen, Nick, I don't know what to tell you about that. All I know is, if you remove the fact that they did a Kickstarter or GoFundMe for it, I enjoyed the hell out of that thing. It was so great. But maybe that's because I got to see it for free. I don't know. So sorry, as I said, did you want to talk about anything else before we get to comedies?
No, we're good.
All right. So I've got a couple that stand out for me in general.
Okay. All right.
You're still on this fucking Velocipaster.
No, this is a different movie.
No. What is
this?
This is things killing.
This is things killing.
Sure is.
I love. Okay, so actually, that does bring to mind the.
You said comedies.
This isn't wrong. The movie trailers that they did in between Grindhouse and is it Kills
Planet
or Death
Terror?
Proof? Death Proof.
It kills, yeah, or Death Proof and Planet Terror.
Planet Terror.
Which was Grindhouse.
Yes, Grindhouse was Grindhouse, and I do an entire episode on Grindhouse Cinema. Trust me, but yeah, the collection of those two movies was called Grindhouse.
The movie trailers that they had in there were great.
Yep.
But so Edgar Wright directed one of those.
I think he directed Don't.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So the one that I would classify for me, Shaun of the Dead is one of them, for instance, is one of my favorites.
Real quick, Nick, there is a real life movie called Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS. Something similar. But yes, not as cool as what that trailer was like. Shaun of the Dead is fucking brilliant. It's on my list too.
Hot Fuzz as well. I would also consider.
I'd consider that more like a comedy action. I wouldn't put that in the horror genre personally.
It gets to be horror with the death scenes.
The culty stuff, yeah.
And especially like with all the fucking church stone being launched from the roof and just obliterating him.
Like I get it. I definitely get where you're coming from, but yeah, I just I don't consider it a horror movie, but I definitely understand where you're coming from and respect that opinion for sure.
Now, but one of my favorites though of recent mention is What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh man, that is one that just has flown under my radar. I have not watched any of them.
You haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows?
Not the movie or the show.
Oh, dude, the show is excellent also. Every episode has been excellent so far. It's one that I usually wait until they finish the series essentially, and then I'll watch the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things like What We Do in the Shadows has like such an off-brand humor. And this is like Taika Waititi before he became like Marvel famous, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was such a good film. They leaned into like all the vampire tropes so well.
And maybe that might be it. Like, I've never been a vampire guy, so maybe that might be why I've avoided it, because I don't like vampires.
Is this a mockumentary found footage thing?
Yes.
Yes. So it's basically very much in the style of like if they took The Office. I'm gonna say The Office. I'm sorry, it is. I mean, what would you classify?
It's 100% The Office.
Right.
I hate it
because it's got like the side interviews and things like that. But they just happen to follow vampires around. And I think it turned into a found footage film a little bit, but it's not very long. But I definitely highly recommend it if you've never seen it.
I thought this was a Johnny Depp movie. Or is there another vampire movie with Johnny Depp?
You're thinking of Shadows Shadows is in the title.
Yeah,
it was a remake of the show. Hold on.
What We Do Amongst the Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dark Shadows is the one. And I never saw that.
No.
That wasn't my thing. But what would you also classify as your horror comedies?
I mean, I've got a ton. The first one that came to my mind was Shaun of the Dead. That to me is that's like a perfect movie almost, in my opinion. But after that, Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Which I love. I remember seeing that in the movie theaters with my wife, her like best friend, and then her husband at the time, and like leaving it, everybody was pissed off except for me.
Why were they pissed off?
Because it wasn't a horror movie. It was this.
Realize it was a fucking let's make fun of our own genre thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
But then we watched it again, and now my wife loves it. But this movie is this should be required doing. It's so good, and it's got so many good people in it, like right on the cusp of like them becoming Chris Hemsworth.
That's the dude from Grey's Anatomy. All right, whatever. Question. So, like, this is kind of a parody of the genre. Isn't the original Scream a parody of the genre?
100%.
Oh, okay.
100%. And then also, one that and I was gonna say like the Evil Dead series, Dale and Tucker versus True Evil, Tucker Dale versus Evil. I mean, there are tons of horror and comedy are kind of go hand in hand, but one that I think is really good that doesn't get enough attention is a movie called Zombievers.
What the fuck?
Beavers?
It's on Netflix. It's exactly what you think it is. It is just a movie with fucking zombie beavers, and it's a lot of fun. It's really funny. It's brutal. It's very good. I definitely recommend it if you've got an hour and a half to spend this Halloween.
But Piranha 3D.
Piranha 3D and Piranha 3 Double D is also a good one as well.
Excuse me, what was that second one?
Piranha 3 Double D.
Okay.
I would say that there's a couple ones that I've watched recently that I really enjoyed that just came out. Werewolves Within was really, really good. And that's actually based on a Ubisoft property of all things.
Okay.
Yeah. Look it up, Todd.
Wolf Among Us, right?
No, not the Wolf Among Us.
Saga.
Oh, okay.
That's Saga as a game. Oh my god.
It's got Todd's favorite AT&T girl in it. I'm sure he'll.
Oh, Mila Vanner. I can't say her last name.
Yeah.
Pearl Girl.
Yeah. Pearl Girl as well. but one of the other ones that I also enjoyed was Ready or Not.
Oh, Ready or Not is very good.
I watched that. Is that a horror movie?
That's technically a horror movie based on like.
I would say so.
No,
Yeah,
I actually watched that
it's one of those things where like if you add comedy elements to it, it doesn't seem to be as bad.
That's scary.
Like Knights of Badassdom is one of those that's also pretty fucking weird. Now there is what is the LARPing?
Little Shop of Horrors, says Nick.
I went through this entire movie, or trailer, thinking that was Margot Robbie.
I did the same.
So she's actually in Guns Akimbo, I think is the name. It's the Daniel Radcliffe movie where he literally has pistols like bolted into his hand.
Fuck.
Okay, Daniel Radcliffe, man, talk about an actor who's just going for it these days.
Does all the art movies now that he has all his money.
Yeah. So, but she is in that movie as well. She stars in it. Looks completely different. So this is Samara Weaving, I think is her name.
Yeah, dude, Nick. Yes, Horns is awesome, and I definitely recommend the book Horns by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. Very good.
Why is his last name not King?
He didn't want to be famous because of his dad.
Yeah.
Is that Stephen King's real last name?
No.
Okay.
Joe Hill. Joe Hill is not, I guess, his real name.
Okay.
So, I remember one of the other. This isn't necessarily comedy based, but I did want to mention it just because it's related to Knights of Badassdom. The Wild Hunt.
I don't know that one.
So the Wild Hunt is very interesting because it's basically LARPing in real life, and they take it very, very, very seriously, like extremely seriously. So for the entire weekend, you're basically like, I think they say decorum repeatedly. Is like you have to respect everyone's position or whatever. It's one of those things where it gets like really dark really quickly, and it just kind of goes downhill from there.
By the way, Geoff, the word you're looking for is they're keeping kayfabe.
Kayfabe?
Wrestling. It's a wrestling term.
They're keeping up the charade.
Kayfabe is when you suspend belief that wrestling is not real to make it real.
Oh, okay. Did you watch The Invitation by any chance?
I did. Mm-hmm.
What did you think of The Invitation?
So I remember watching it, and I remember experiencing it, but now I cannot remember anything about it.
Oh, it's a Hemsworth.
I bet Alyssa remembers this one more than I do.
Liam Hemsworth in The Invitation?
Yes.
No, that's not.
No, I don't think so.
Is this not the movie? Is there a different movie called The Invitation?
No, I mean you've got it up on the screen correctly, but
it says Liam Hemsworth at the top.
Oh. No, I'm
man,
confused.
That's Casey Affleck.
That is Casey Affleck, yes.
No, I'm just joking. That's not Casey Affleck.
No, that's Casey Affleck. I don't see a Hemsworth unless that bearded dude is Liam Hemsworth.
No.
Yeah. I remember thinking this movie was very okay.
Well, so one of the other ones that there's that's kind of akin to this. I know I'm kind of deviating from the comedy aspect. There's Green Room, which was really good.
Oh, so good.
And that was actually one of
Ryan Reynolds movie?
Patrick Stewart movie.
I'm gonna mispronounce this. Anton Yelton's last movies.
Yelkin.
Anton Yelkin. Thank you.
That movie was very good.
Surprisingly dark for fucking Patrick Stewart.
Yep.
Like,
there's a Red Band trailer.
Well, I wonder what made him want to do that movie?
Because he can't.
Oh, it's because it's different. You know what I mean? Like
It was very different. Yeah,
it's another A24 movie.
Dude,
Yeah.
A24, they know what they're doing.
Well, so there's two styles of film and horror right now that's very popular. You have Blumhouse, which is just extreme budget film,
except for that new Halloween movie.
Except for the new Halloween movie, right? But they try to make it extremely low budget and it's maximum profit. And I think that extended all the way back to Paranormal Activity.
If I'm not
mistaken.
Blumhouse has definitely evolved, but from Paranormal Activity.
But then you have A24, which is what I would consider definitely be more like artsy.
Art house.
Yeah, definitely like art house. Because Blumhouse is doing Insidious, The Purge, Halloween.
It took over all the big franchises.
It took all the big franchises.
Which makes no sense. That goes against everything that they originally were.
Yeah. Because the first Insidious movie blew my fucking mind. I thought it was so damn good.
Cargill wrote that, right?
The first Insidious? I think it was
C. Robert Cargill.
Oh, I'm not too sure then. The first Paranormal Activity movie, I thought was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like I would consider it to be it veered into what I would consider to be popular horror. Because Insidious, The Conjuring, anything by James Wan, really,
Sinister, yeah,
would be I would consider to be popular horror. Saw was huge,
unnecessarily huge.
Sorry, Cargill wrote Sinister, not Insidious.
Which I liked Sinister. I never saw
Sinister was good.
I don't know if I ever saw the second Sinister, but I saw the first one.
He also wrote Doctor Strange. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
And he's apparently writing a Deus Ex movie.
Oh, really?
Which is not great because it's based off a human revolution.
Oh, well, I mean, you got your hits.
I have all those games. I need to.
They're good.
He wrote Sinister 2 as well?
Yeah, he wrote both.
I guess I need to ask Alyssa if I watched Sinister 2. I cannot remember.
What about Teeth? What genre?
Teeth is body horror.
Oh, is that a genre? Oh, that I've heard that.
Teeth is 100% body horror. It would be like the number 4 that I would say you should watch in body horror movies.
Definitely watch that movie.
So yes, Sinister was Blumhouse.
Okay.
The person in chat.
Okay.
Yeah, that's James.
Yes, I mean that's again like popular horror, very low budget. The Purge is like definitely one of those as well, which is also a Blumhouse film.
Question about The Purge. Would somebody that's not into like crazy horror movies be okay watching The Purge? Because like the idea of it's cool.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, I don't consider it to be necessarily like straight
it's like
horror.
A suspense. It's like a suspense movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I love the idea of it. Like I'd read a book of it more than I'd watch a movie of it.
I've seen a few of them. Some are better than the others, but I haven't seen them all.
There's like 6 of them now, right?
There's a ton of them. Yeah, there might even be more than that at this point.
It's interesting because they really were leaning more in towards the election year one, for instance. They're definitely feeding into.
I liked that one the best.
Yeah, it was good.
If you're watching live, this is Teeth. Which, I shouldn't have to explain what the movie Teeth is, but you should just look it up.
She uses her vagina for justice.
There we go. This came out the same time as the horror movie Rubber about the killer tire, and what a fun weekend that was.
Did you ever watch Creep?
I thought you said Creed.
Oh, with the guy from New Girl. I can't remember his name.
Mark Duplass?
Yes. Yeah, he directed that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the first one, never saw the second one.
There is a second one?
Yeah,
and apparently it's not good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, apparently it's really bad. Creep is a good found footage movie.
I'm just, just kind of circling through some of these because, like, you can.
Oh, I got another horror comedy that doesn't get talked about enough.
Okay.
Hell Baby.
Hell Baby.
It's got Rob Corddry and like Ricky Lindholm is in it. Paul Scheer is in it.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about. Not Crispus. What is it?
Krampus.
Krampus.
Krampus is also. Krampus is like if we were to do another Christmas episode where we talked about like horror Christmas movies, where we just talk about Santa sleighs and Black Christmas and stuff like that. We could talk about Krampus.
Darko Entertainment.
Did you ever watch? Did you ever watch the? It was like the Killer Santas from like Norway.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but yeah, I never saw it.
That one they started off as a YouTube series, I think, and it was like I have to figure that out.
Oh, Geoff, if you've never watched Hell Baby, you should really watch Hell Baby.
Hey, it's what's his face?
It's got everybody in it. It literally has everybody that is funny is in this movie, but it's it's got some jumps, man. It's very good though.
From the creators of Reno 911.
Yeah, they wrote it. Tom Lennon and
all right, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
Leslie Bibb is in it, who I adore. And she's just pregnant, just smoking and drinking turpentine and shit.
Okay, all right. I'll have to watch this then.
This is very fun.
Yeah, there's also what I would like to call movies. Let's talk about some movies that you shouldn't watch. Did you have any of those on your list?
I mean, I feel like most of my in movies is movies you shouldn't watch.
No, I would say some of those are all right.
Well, I mean, I got a couple. I have. We didn't talk about like real just gore heavy movies, body horror, found footage, like monster movies, paranormal movies. But like the ones that come to mind is movies that like I probably wouldn't recommend to the normal public. I probably wouldn't recommend Cannibal Holocaust.
I've seen that.
Cannibal Holocaust. Without Cannibal Holocaust, we wouldn't have found footage movies. Or at least at least at the level that we have them right now. I probably wouldn't recommend. I probably would never have recommended Zombievers. For body horror, Tusk.
Okay.
I think Tusk is so largely overlooked as like a fucking good horror movie because it's Kevin Smith, but it's there's that scene in Tusk where they zoom out and they show they like reveal Justin Long.
A24 made it. God damn it.
This movie is unnerving. It's unsettling, man. I saw this again. I went to Kevin Smith's Roadshow, and it was an unsettling fucking movie, dude. Again, Michael Parks just masterfully, killing it. Haley Joel Osment is in this movie, but again, for most people, I probably wouldn't tell people to watch this.
Damn, H1.
And it also means something, I think, to me because like. This was born from a conversation that happened on an episode of Smodcast. And I listened to that episode like the day it aired,
totally.
So it's just, it's weird. It's just, I was there for all of it,
Do you feel like this is
my name's in the credits?
Baby?
Huh?
Do you feel like it's your movie, baby? You watch it incubate?
Well, my name is in the credits.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Michael Parks is so good, though. Michael
Parks is so fucking good in this movie. Geoff, have you ever watched this?
I've never watched Tusk.
Oh man, it's you got to think of it as not a Kevin Smith movie and just like as like a fucking weird Hammer horror style horror movie. So good.
So there's a few movies that I would classify as ones that I would not want to see again.
Okay.
This is kind of just going down the list of those like Redbox rentals I was talking about earlier.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
As Above, So Below is one of them.
Oh, okay.
The Poughkeepsie tapes, which I can't pronounce for the life of me, is another one.
Why not?
So there's one of those things where you would watch, and I think it was found footage, right? And it's basically like hundreds of tapes showing us decades of the serial killer's work is what it's called.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you're watching it and it reminds you of like VHS, for instance.
Oh God.
Yep.
The very first VHS,
like
which was great, right? And you're just like unsettled by everything you're watching in that movie.
Yep.
And then it's just one of those things where they try to lean into like the Paranormal Activity type thing where they're like, hey, this is real. We found this film footage, right? And we're trying to really lean into it. And they're trying to reproduce the success of like I would call like Blair Witch Project. Which did you watch the newest Blair Witch Project?
No.
Well, those where I'll say don't bother watching it.
It's
one of those things where there's a bunch of films where I would consider to be like bottom of the barrel Redbox films that I could not recommend to you, but I spent my money on it and I watched it.
Well, I love the Poughkeepsie tapes.
Not surprising.
And I would recommend people to watch it.
I'm trying to off the top of my head. There's a movie where I remember her name. Give me just a second. It's Jessica Chastain.
Oh,
you don't like her?
I've never really seen anything I've liked her in.
Okay. So there is a movie, and I have to scroll down here. It wasn't Mom?
Ooh,
yes.
Hated that movie.
Oh, thank you. Because I hated that movie.
Hated that movie. Sucks.
It's one of those things where you would hope that the pedigree of the movie, the people that are in it, Guillermo del Toro, and then Andy Muschietti went on to direct It. And did you watch the new It movie?
I saw the first one and like a little bit of the second one, but I was getting kind of bored in that second one.
The second one was awful. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I really liked the first one, though.
From Twilight?
I don't think that's Kristen Stewart.
No,
you're thinking... So Jessica Chastain.
Oh, right.
It's not. No, that's Jessica Chastain.
Oh, that's Jessica Chastain?
Yes.
Weird.
Yeah, they dyed her hair and they just made her look weird. But the whole movie...
Don't do that.
The whole movie was just fucking bizarre because it started off from a fucking YouTube video. Like the original thing was a YouTube video. It was fucking creepy. It was nice. And then they're like, let's expand upon that. And as soon as you do that, like you just take a concept that works so well in a small reference, that's when it starts to really fall apart.
Annabelle.
Annabelle is
Annabelle Creation is excellent.
Is that...
That's the one on the actual like the origin story.
But is that that's like that's not the farmhouse?
That is the farmhouse.
That was terrible.
Oh, even people who didn't like any of those movies thought that movie was good. No, that
no. All right, let me tell you something. Listen, the beginning of the movie was acceptable, okay, and you're like, all right, this is a little blah blah blah. Miranda Otto is one of the best actresses that you could have cast for that movie, and I swear to God, when they're like, hey, we're gonna pay you money just to sit in bed all day, you cool with that? And she was just like, I mean, I guess, is there anything else that I could do? They're like, no, you're just gonna sit in bed all day, you're gonna act kind of creepy, and you're gonna have a mask on your face, partially on your face. Hated that movie. It It was awful. It was one of those things where we watched Conjuring 3 and we started working our way through the Annabelle movies. It was almost as bad as The Nun.
The Nun was really bad. I didn't like The Nun.
Which and Julia doesn't believe me. Do you remember the priest in The Nun? His voice?
Vaguely.
I swear to God, it was an Antonio Banderas like impersonation, and it was awful.
I'd have to.
And Julia doesn't believe me, and I'm just like, I swear.
I have no desire to watch that movie ever again, so I don't know if I will watch it, but yeah.
So it's one of those things where the Annabelle / Conjuring universe, especially if you ever read into the back history of the Warrens and just like how uncool they really were.
The Warrens were dog shit human beings.
And that's the thing. You watch The Conjuring and you're like, wow, this is pretty cool. Didn't know anything about the Warrens. And let me go do some cursory research. And then you do some cursory research. You're like, oh, everything they've ever done was just invented by them. And
yep. No,
not only that, but they would like go. All right, how can we like make this into something that we can sell? And like, hey, we're gonna pay some hush money to people so you don't like, reveal that this is a bad story.
They were con artists. They were bad. They were televangelists without the TV.
That's the guy from Hard Candy.
Yes, it is.
Oh, he's such a good actor. He is such a good actor.
Hard Candy horror.
I wouldn't call Hard Candy horror personally.
I was horrified whenever that.
It's definitely not an easy movie to watch, but I wouldn't necessarily call Hard Candy a horror movie.
I lost my crush on Ellen Page. I'm sorry, Elliot Page. Whenever I saw
I forgot that was Elliot Page.
Sure is.
Yeah, Nick, suspense, not horror. Yeah.
Patrick Wilson's been in a lot of stuff though.
Patrick Wilson is a great actor.
so fill me in. Conjuring and Annabelle are made up by
same universe.
Oh
yeah. So the Warrens basically have.
Like, what movie am I seeing whenever
you're watching a compilation?
You're watching basically like the behind the scenes kind of like inspiration.
Right, but whenever I see Patrick Wilson, what movie is that?
That is The Conjuring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because this is the real lady. Yeah. Well, the guy's fucking been dead for a long time, but yeah.
Well, she's dead now too, I think.
I think she recently died.
And then she got conjured back into a doll.
Well, and so the whole thing with them is that they have a museum, and I'm using this very loosely, a museum of the occult.
I see that.
Within that museum is all of their quote unquote cases and artifacts that they've taken. One of them is the Annabelle doll. All right.
The original Annabelle doll.
The original Annabelle doll, which looks nothing like it does.
It's a Raggedy Ann doll, right?
It's a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where like, all right, if you touch this,
you die.
Bad things will happen.
Oh my god, a Necronomicon.
The Necronomicon, yep, 100%. So
is it made with human skin? Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it. So it's one of those things where they have all of this shit in their house.
Oh, that's Annabelle?
Yeah. Yep.
And it's supposed to be like
my cousin had one of those.
Right.
I had one of those.
It's one of those things where like it's kind of like that's creepypasta, right? And that's why we do spooky scary skeletons every year, because like stuff like this is very interesting.
Coming out the day before Halloween.
Yep.
So you can listen to it on Halloween.
Yep. Coming out on Halloween. It is happening this year. It's not gonna be a surprise, I promise. But it's like one of those things where like on eBay, for instance, they had this Lilo and Stitch doll and it was haunted and it would follow people. And there was like this thing like you could go on eBay and buy quote unquote haunted objects.
Yeah. I've seen a whole thing about that.
I would.
I mean, but it's like the Warrens specifically, the backstory is really bad. Like if you just like the Amityville, I can't pronounce. Yeah, that was them, for instance. That's supposed to be one of their. Yes, actually.
Okay.
So like there's a lot of things that are out there that are quote unquote inspired by a true story, and it's completely false. And I really want to watch this, by the way,
This
Todd. I
is
haven't
as
watched
close
it
as
yet.
I'm getting to a horror movie, by the way.
So I was actually really upset when we went to Disney World
Was
and
Muppet
we
Vision
rode
3D closed?
we rode Haunted Mansion
Okay.
and it didn't have the hat top or the box hat ghost. I can't remember his name now.
The Hat Box Ghost is what
The
you're
hat
trying
box
to say.
ghost.
Yes.
He didn't have that, and I get
I
out.
thought that was only in California.
So yes, I was informed that
Speaking of, there he is, Fozzie
not
Bear as Hat Box Ghost.
not quite rudely, but like as if I
You
was
should know fucking better.
as if I was dumb
Yeah, you are.
by the
That's
Disney
why.
employee. She was like, no, obviously we can't fit that in this attraction.
Yeah, that one's at,
Look how
Cali.
small it is."
Yeah, that one's at Cali.
And I was like, I'm fucking sorry that I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm excited to see this because like we wrote it twice.
Right now
was
it's
just
Nightmare Before Christmas -ified.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, every October.
I don't think I would enjoy that.
No,
I could care less, to be honest with you.
Really briefly, overrated horror film, or not horror films, but Halloween movies in general that don't need to be watched.
Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion.
Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion is probably one of them.
See? I beat Nick to it.
I think I heard Alyssa in the background, but I'm not sure.
Yelling at Barnaby for being loud. Sorry. Come back to me on that because I don't I mean, there's a ton of movies that I think are like not great that like, you know, people fucking have like celebrated. Any Saw movie.
Yeah, any Saw movie. I'm probably David S. Pumpkins. Oh no.
The original Saw terrified me.
It was okay, but like, man, I think it was overhyped for me from the beginning.
Oh, I came into it knowing nothing.
I don't know if you could call this a horror movie, but a movie that I think is overrated is A Clockwork Orange.
Okay.
Never seen it.
I don't know. There's certain things. What's in the box? I could consider that a horror movie. I'll allow it. It's more of like a suspense, like the Zodiac Killer. I wouldn't really consider it to be. Or did you actually? So I don't mean to, because obviously I think that's hilarious that Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer. Apparently they solved that case.
Yeah, yep. I read that they solved it.
And it's somebody who died just a couple of years ago.
I wonder if Patton Oswalt somewhere is just like so happy about that. For context, his late wife's life's work near the end of her life was about a book. Wasn't it about the Zodiac
It was about the Golden State Killer.
Oh, same shit.
And that book did help capture the Golden State Killer.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're right. I'm sorry. That was
No.
I just remember the picture of him with his
and that person is still alive and was a police officer.
Oh, that's sad. So it wasn't Ted Cruz.
No, but the Zodiac Killer is a different person.
Okay, that is Ted Cruz.
Yes.
Okay. Not David S. Pumpkins.
So I definitely want to talk about him on Spooky Scary Skeletons.
David S. Pumpkins?
No, not him.
Oh,
Ted Cruz?
Yeah, sure. Let's just. Oh god!
I just realized David S. Pumpkins is a finger guns lesbian. He just keeps doing them. Actually, he looks more like a Hardy Boy.
I've never understood it, and then when they brought it back again, they're like, "Look how funny and witty we are."
It's definitely one of those. To me, it was just funny because it's just random as fuck.
Yeah, but then they tried to repeat it, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, they brought it back in the rap.
I just.
Sorry, I keep unplugging my headphones.
You're at an hour 30. What else you got?
I mean, apparently we've just been
having
a very.
Jim gave me a list, so
I sent over my list so that Todd could get ready to show things. But I'll just run through them real quick. For your super gory movies, huh?
Keep going while I look up something.
For your super gory movies, if I had to pick one, Day of the Dead. I think Day of the Dead is better than Dawn of the Dead. I just think it's a better movie. I think it's a better story. I think it's a better movie. Did
you like the new Zack Snyder one?
It wasn't bad. The
Who
Batista
gave Zack
one.
Snyder more money.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was bad. I think even Alyssa liked it a little bit too. It was fine.
I'm still struggling to get over the fact that they replaced Chris D'Elia so well.
Oh, with Tig Notaro.
Yeah.
How many of the Dead movies are there?
So there's officially there's Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead.
So are you saying that there are non-canon of the Dead movies?
There's like the Night of the Living Dead remake. There's a bunch of other of the Dead little spoof movies and shit like that. But the George Romero directed, of the Dead movies, those are them.
Jim, can I ask you why you put a Stephanie Meyer book on your list?
Oh no. I know what you're talking about. He's talking about The Host, which is not the same thing.
No, it is.
It's not the same thing at all.
No, it is.
For monster movies, I put The Host, and that movie is so vastly underrated. I think it's one of the.
You're talking about the Korean one, right?
Yes.
Of course, he's talking about
by the same director as Parasite. So good. The Host is excellent. I put The Thing on there also, and then I put and this is a very if you don't want to call this a horror movie, that's fine. But Jaws is a masterpiece in my opinion.
Oh, just real side tangent. Snowpiercer, excellent movie.
Snowpiercer is another.
Is that a horror movie?
Snowpiercer is 100% a horror movie.
Oh,
yeah,
well, I watched that.
Say it is.
I like that one.
By the same director of Parasite and The Host.
It's Willy Wonka.
Snowpiercer?
Yeah. I've shared that so many times.
Have you, though?
That Snowpiercer. Okay, first of all, let me make sure we're talking about the same movie. Chris Evans on a Train?
Yeah. I can see that.
It is the sequel to Willy Wonka. It's a sequel to Willy Wonka.
What?
What's his face? The guy at the front of the train, Ed Harris. Ed Harris is Charlie. What was Willy Wonka known for? Producing food in unconventional ways and weird machines that transport you.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that. No, no.
Yeah,
because Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is about producing joy and happiness.
I mean, it was joy and happiness for the people in the front of the train.
No, that's more of it. No, Snowpiercer is more like elitism, right? It's a class of society for people who have to survive.
You mean like the ones that he chose to get the golden ticket?
He didn't choose for them to get the golden ticket, though. It was random.
He absolutely planted those.
No, he didn't.
Yes.
No, he didn't.
You're wrong.
Listen, we can talk about this with Timothy Chalamet.
Oh,
exactly.
Isn't there a Snowpiercer show now?
There is a Snowpiercer show. I could see. I could see this. It's just like the theory with The Rock and James Bond, which I have heard a bajillion times recently.
Well, tell me about that later.
Oh my goodness!
Did you say Jaws is a horror movie?
I think so.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's horrifying.
No, it's a classic horror movie.
Okay.
Tokyo Gore Police.
Tokyo Ghoul.
This is why I wanted to do this with Jim, because he's just coming out of left field with all these random,
Tokyo Gore Police is excellent. It's just a lot of fun, but definitely if you're squeamish, You should definitely not watch it, but it's okay, Gore, please.
Good to know.
Ichi the Killer is a masterpiece in my opinion, but again, do not watch if you have, good on you, man. If you are,
I'm thinking of IP Man. Never mind.
Yeah, don't watch it. Those are two very different movies. For body horror, I said Videodrome, Slither, and Tusk.
I've heard of Slither.
Slither is James Gunn directed.
No way.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Before or after he got canceled and then uncanceled?
That was
way before.
Way before. It was like 03 or something like that.
Okay.
Found footage. I said Cannibal Holocaust. I said Paranormal Activity, the first one, and I said Record. Record is the VHS. Original version of Quarantine.
Of what?
Which was much better. Of the movie Quarantine.
What? I'd never heard of that.
Where does Audition fall for you?
Audition, James, earlier I mentioned Audition as being one of my favorites. I couldn't put it in a specific genre. It would be very hard to categorize that, and so I didn't. Okay. But it's excellent.
I've never heard of Quarantine.
Watch the Spanish version. Record. What? It is so much better.
Oh.
It's just called REC. Just REC.
Oh.
For Monster, I said The Thing, Jaws, and The Host. For Paranormal, I chose Grave Encounters, which could also be a found footage movie. The Ring, I fucking love that movie. And my favorite horror movie of all time, which is The Exorcist, is my favorite horror movie of all time. And then, The Exorcist really does, even to this day, really makes people uneasy. But if you don't want to watch the movie, one of my favorite books of all time is also The Exorcist. William Peter Blatty, the book. It's so good.
I didn't know it was a book.
It's very, very good.
All right, what's your did you already talk about your remakes?
Oh, remakes. The 2004 Dawn of the Dead remake, I think, is awesome. Honestly, I know people. It's Zack Snyder. I know people don't like Zack Snyder, but I think it's really good. I hate to keep bringing it up, but The Ring, I think, is awesome. I think it's much better than Ringu, the Japanese movie. And then there is a movie called Maniac, which I really do like the original movie, but Elijah Wood is in the remake and adds an entire new level to it. So I definitely recommend.
Is it a Netflix thing? Is that Jonah Hill?
I don't.
It's a different thing.
Well,
it's a different thing.
That's a different thing. Elijah Wood is in this one. I don't think it's a Netflix thing specifically. And then for one more remake, the remake of Suspiria, which is also very, very good. But if I had to pick one, I would say Elijah Wood's Maniac.
Nick has suggested a Taiwanese movie called Number 999.
I'll have to watch that.
Is it Upside Down 666?
Nick usually recommends
13 Ghosts, is that a horror movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. The on the ship?
Oh, is that a ship? I don't know. I just remember movies from like my teenage years that I was too afraid to watch. That and Glass House, I think, was another one. Maybe.
I remember that. That name sounds familiar.
Do you mean Shaggy the rapper, or do you mean Shaggy like Matthew Lillard? Because I need to know.
Oh, what about I can't remember. Oh, Ghost Ship.
Oh yeah. What about Ghost The Fog, or whatever that was?
The Fog is good.
With Paris Hilton.
There's House of Wax with.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
Where she gets fucking destroyed.
Her and Tom Felton, I think.
I think so.
No, Tom. The guy that played Superman in Smallville.
Oh, Tom.
I almost said Hiddleston.
Can't remember his name, but yeah.
Oh well.
Tom Smallville.
Gravity Falls.
Is it the Mist? That the one where they're like
in the convenience store?
I think so. Oh, we don't talk about the Leprechaun franchise.
The only Leprechaun movie that matters is Leprechaun in the Hood. Yeah. Of the Friday the 13th movies, 1, 3, and Jason X in fucking space.
1, 3, and Jason X. Okay. All right. Quickly, like I know this is a horror movie podcast.
I know, and we've been going so long.
That's fine. We got 15 minutes left. Do you have any horror or suspense or something like that outside of movies that you would recommend? Like a TV show, a game, a comic, a book?
I mean, I have to all of those things.
Give me one game and one TV show.
So game, I mean it's hard. I already talked about Alien Isolation. In my opinion, the greatest horror video game of all time is Silent Hill 2.
Oh, Silent Hill 2. Okay.
Silent Hill 2.
Do you have a book and/or game?
Well, so I was about to say with the Sandman, recently, if you're on Audible, it's free until October 22nd.
Okay.
Act 1. It's just an audiobook. It's an extremely good cast. I've been listening to that now for a little bit. I highly recommend it. It's more of like a stage play in audio form than anything else, because it's got a lot of sound effects, a lot of music. It's not just like people reading off the page. I want to say also, let me see. The horror games for me are really difficult for me to play.
Or even spoopy games. Like, doesn't have to be like crazy.
So if you want a game that's really Senua's Sacrifice Hellblade is actually really good.
Oh,
where
so
she's
good.
Going insane, right?
Yeah, so like that one deals a lot with like mental illness in general. Yeah. Definitely recommend that.
Man, y'all both missed an easy toss up. BioShock.
Oh, BioShock is excellent.
I
almost would call it sci-fi more than I would call it horror, though.
It's definitely got some horror elements to it, especially the
first one specifically, not the other two.
Right. I can't remember what their names are.
Big Daddies.
Not Big Daddies.
Little Sisters.
Not Little Sisters. It's the actual Splicers. Splicers. Yeah. The way they like
horrifying.
cackle and like are just generally like unsettling in general. It's I could consider that a horror movie or game rather.
Nick mentioned in the comments Uzumaki.
Naruto?
I don't know if you're referring to the book or the manga.
He's talking about Naruto.
But the answer is yes, no matter what you're recommending there. But yeah, no, the answer is yes. Uzumaki is fantastic.
Nick, are you talking about Boruto or Naruto Shippuden or Naruto? That's his last name.
I got a couple of music recommendations.
Oh Lord, is Gwar in there anywhere?
Huh?
Is Gwar involved anywhere?
No. Although Gwar, they're aliens from an Antarctic planet. So, but the entire catalog for a band called Mortician, all of their songs are start with a horror movie sample. So enjoy Mortician. They're coming to Houston real soon. They never come. They never tour. Also, the band Macabre. All of their songs are about serial killers. In fact, the singer of Macabre was at the trial for Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh.
Was at the trial for Jeffrey Dahmer, and then they have an entire album called Dahmer, just about that. Necrogoblicon, yeah. And then it's hard for me to recommend this one for one reason only, and it's Misfits' Famous Monsters album. I think it is the best. Everyone, already everyone hates me for thinking that a non-Glenn Danzig Misfits album is good, but this one is their best album. but the singer definitely has recently come out as being a Proud Boy now, which fucking sucks. But Misfits Famous Monsters, if you can separate that personality versus art sort of thing.
Hey Jim, what's that band where like they're like the devil pope?
Ghost?
They're terrifying. Yeah, they're scary.
Ghost
have you ever seen Ghost? Like the
yes.
band Ghost?
Mm-hmm.
Live?
They freak me out.
So the only other game I'll recommend right now is 12 Minutes.
If y'all haven't seen it. Game?
It is.
Time loop game?
It's on Game Pass. It's got James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, William Dafoe.
What?
William Dafoe.
I know it. Oh, Green Goblin. Cool.
Yeah. So I won't spoil that game, but if you have a chance to play it, it is unsettling to say the least.
Click on the video that says
somebody was just talking about it.
It was blowing up about a month ago.
Okay.
IGN. I found the IGN.
So just this first line is really all you need to know. What should be a romantic evening with your wife turns into a nightmare when a police detective breaks into your home, accuses your wife of murder, and beats you to death.
Beats you to death.
And beats you to death.
Only for you to find yourself immediately returned to the exact moment you open the front door, stuck in a time loop, doomed to relive the same terror again and again.
Groundhog Day. But death.
But death.
So, well, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. This was a lot longer episode than I thought it was going to be.
And it sucks because I could literally just keep going.
Well, so I just want to point out something. This is obviously a horror episode for Halloween. That's not to say that we couldn't continue to do this. Hey, it's got the shining carpet.
Yeah, also. I saw
that. That's funny. That's not to say we couldn't do this again in the future, just in general. I kind of like to talk about movies a lot. We had a whole podcast about it, but kind of fell by the wayside.
R.I.P.
But things could change. You never know. I do want to thank you all for joining us tonight on our special horror podcast. We do have another podcast coming down the pipeline. Actually, a couple, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
We've got one called Spooky Scary Skeletons. It's going to be coming out on Halloween, as per the usual.
Day before Halloween.
Is it day before Halloween or Halloween day?
Day before Halloween.
Oh, okay.
So you can listen to it on Halloween.
Oh, okay. All right. Appreciate that. So we'll be recording that really soon. I believe Andrew will be having an episode of anime horror for Neat Trash.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I purposefully left off my anime horror movies.
Yeah. I'm not sure when we're recording that just yet, but it should be soon.
Nobody knows.
And then, we have a couple other surprises coming down the pipeline too, so we'll see how that goes. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight on Halloween horror movie Fight Night. I want to say Fright Night.
Like
much. Yeah, we're there. Tonight I've had Mr. Jim Keel. I've also had Mr. Todd Harden.
I talked way more than I wanted to.
Well, it apparently was an interesting topic for you.
Yeah.
So thank you all and have a great night.
Willy Wonka
watch something weird.